Hi, Kirby. How are you doing?
Good, good. How are you?
I'm doing good, thank you.
And you're in Amsterdam, right?
Yes, I'm at Amsterdam at the AI World Summit. So,
And AI World Summit, that's with IEEE, is that correct?
no, it's actually IEEE has a vendor table, but it's not through IEEE. It's actually a World Summit for artificial intelligence. So you have a lot of technology companies here that are presenting what kind of AI programs or products that they're creating, or what kind of AI services they provide. And so, one of the key takeaways that I've gotten so far from today is the importance of artificial intelligence, and as it applies to ethics, and how you incorporate that ethics into your workflow and your processes, and also to make sure any kind of platform that you're using has AI ethics integrated. And I also looked at two of the main standards that relate to AI ethics. One is a IEEE AI ethics standard, and then the other one is some ISO AI standards. So I'm going to actually go and get IEEE AI ethics certification so that I will become certified to utilize AI with ethics.
Awesome. Can you give
Yeah.
us a sample, like what kind of stuff they're talking about with AI ethics?
Uh, yes. So AI, I mean, it's really, anything that you would typically think of as a technology with ethics would be involved. But one of them would be, for example, maintaining privacy, what kind of transparency. Those would be two, data security. Um, yeah. So,
Okay.
mhm.
Well, I'm looking forward to what you have to say when you're done with this conference. If anybody out there is also at the conference, go say hi to her. Right?
Yes, please. Yes, please. And to everybody that I stopped by their vendor table and told them all about Pluses Experts Network Inc. This is our Twitch cast, and you are welcome anytime.
Hi, Andrea. Nice to see you.
Hi, Andrea. Thanks for the messages on LinkedIn.
Yes. All
Yeah.
right. So Andrea's very much into AI as well. So
Mhm.
somebody to bounce some ideas on that is when you're done with the conference as well. So today our topic though is kids. Are the kids okay? Right.
Yes.
So let's. I'll share our first article first because I think this is probably the most important
Oh,
one that, and it's just recently published. So
I
let's.
was just about to say
Mhm.
AI ethics also relates to that too.
Oh yeah. Okay. So the sadistic harm radicalization funnel, and this Alexander S. wrote a whole article about this. It's about exploitation networks and about bringing children, new people into these networks. They start off as a victim and they end up moving up the network and becoming perpetrators themselves. What do you think about this, Sarah?
I The trend is disturbing. What I thought before you even had, was it group 467?
764.
764. Okay, I got the numbers backwards.
Mm-hmm.
But even before the one teenager was arrested in Texas for running the one group,
Mm-hmm.
prior to that, several years prior, you had a kind of a viral urban legend about what was called Blue Whale. And Blue Whale was circulating about, you had this group called the Blue Whale. They were reaching out to youth and getting them to hurt themselves. And so that urban legend actually snowballed into a real case example of this teenage led group. And now that he's been arrested, now you're seeing this happening with other groups that are doing the same thing. You had an instance also in South Korea where some people were doing something similar on Telegram to females, where they would get females to hurt themselves. Uh, or primarily females. So I think this is a something that will need to watch out for as far as digital youth and safety. And there, for OSINT investigators, there's two kinds of branches I see with it. One is awareness and how to share with digital youth how to report these kinds of activities if they are approached. And then the second part of it is uh, how to actually investigate these kind of organizations.
Mm-hmm. Right, because they're very loosely held together. I wanted to mention something for the parents. So Andrea just said, I read this, it was important. She has two teens. I know, Sarah, you have two teens.
Mm-hmm.
The thing to think about with this is that, first of all, it's not just the kids who are just looking this up in the first place, the ones who are going to look into it. And I mean, those kids are out there, but most of the time it starts as somebody being a victim. They like victimize somebody and then they pull them in, and then that person now victimizes others. And so like protecting your children against this sort of thing, knowing where they are online, that sort of thing can be really important.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yep, absolutely.
So that's what really scares me, is that especially with the the sextortion like epidemic, because they do, I mean, part of it is sextortion, some of it's just self-harm, things that are a little bit maybe a little bit not quite as crazy as sextortion, although some even more, right? Some of them are trying to talk these kids into live streaming themselves, unliving or whatever, right?
Right.
So it's a scary thing.
It is. Yeah, I think the big things are with parents. Also, one of the big things is there's a emphasis with a lot of parents in schools on surveillance and on censorship, but that doesn't really fix this kind of issue. I'm a strong advocate for believing that you should have youth empowerment so that the child feels comfortable approaching others and saying, "Hey, this is not right," and
Rather
not to
than
be
being like,
afraid.
"Oh, I'm not supposed to see this in the first place. I can't talk to anybody about it."
Right, exactly. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, and you were just mentioning 764. We actually have a video about group 764. There's a pretty good kind of like a primer on what it is. So find it again. There we go. All right. And all right, we got to wait for my, oh, I guess maybe it'll let me play it. All right, here we go. I'm just going to play the first section, and then people can kind of look for it. Again, all of our links are always going to be on the YouTube version of this video.
Doesn't rely on algorithms or exposure. It spreads private servers, closed groups, and invite-only links passed from one person to the next. And once someone's inside, getting out isn't always simple. Over the last few years, that darkness has started to take shape. Investigators are now tracking what they describe as one of the most rapidly growing online threats in the world, a decentralized, ideologically driven network that has already been linked to dozens of victims across multiple countries. According to the FBI, the group coerces vulnerable individuals into producing CSAM, self-mutilation, and extreme violence. And in the most severe cases, victims have been pushed to taking their own lives.
Okay, so again, this is pretty creepy stuff. It's not just 764 though, because that group, the head of that one, was arrested and sentenced to, was it 10 years that he was sentenced to?
I don't remember what the sentence was.
I'm trying to remember.
But
there was like a couple of different.
Yeah.
This one might have been the 80 years one. I can't remember. Something crazy. Anyway, but in this video, go into it, where even though that person's no longer there, it seamlessly kind of popped up in with a couple other leads. So, it's still ongoing, and you just want to make sure that, this to me is like the most, it's called the internet's most disturbing cult, is this video, right? This is the most disturbing thing on the internet to me. I feel like this is a lot of times, not necessarily as far deep as this, but this sort of thing is what motivates some of the shootings, the ones that have manifestos, things like that. It's this kind of deep dive into the dehumanizing internet, right?
Right. Right.
So really kind of something, if you're a parent, I would watch this, and I would also keep track of what my kids are doing online, for sure. I mean, it's hard. I know it's hard now, but
But I think it's also interesting when you look at it from a societal perspective, as far as desensitization. So
Mhm.
if it, like, I just watched a special last week, or a kind of a documentary on how Ed Gein was inspiration for Psycho.
Mhm.
So and at that
But
time,
also,
that
isn't
was,
he also the inspiration for Silence of the Lambs?
I don't know, maybe. I do. I do know that I think he was inspiration for the one part of the Silence of.
Yeah,
Yes, I
for the
do.
one guy.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. Um, but with Psycho, that was a movie that was made in the 1970s, and uh, was it I think it was the early 1970s, and you had Anthony Perkins in it, and Ed Gaines had made the house in Psycho based on or
1960.
1960. Okay, that's right. So uh, the house in Psycho was based on Ed Gaines' house, and they tried to do an exact replica of the house, and the characters in Psycho were modeled off of Ed Gaines. And when that movie came out, it was very, very controversial for being too gory and slasher and violent, and
Yeah.
if you just kind of look at the from that time in 1960 to now, and you had Orgish that came out in well, that was in the early 2000s, when you had Orgish.com that had executions on it that were real and faked, and you had it was for people that had a violence fetish, and it was hosted out of Amsterdam, or hosted out of the Netherlands. And the desensitization just continues to where these kind of things are very normal on social media platforms. So it kind of, as far as a flow, these kind of groups are not unexpected when you're looking at the pattern.
Mhm.
So yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And Andrea said that Psycho made people afraid to shower,
Oh, absolutely. Yes, it did. Yeah.
especially in hotels. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. We'll
So, one thing I want to point out with this topic is, not only is it a danger for youth, and it also for investigators, just like in the last episode, one of the big issues with this is, how do you investigate it effectively with mitigating vicarious trauma.
Right. Yeah. And vicarious trauma, again, is when you, as well, it could be for a lot of different reasons, but we're specifically talking about you as the investigator have to see this kind of material, CSAM and violence and all that kind of stuff, and how it affects you mentally later.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Okay, let's lighten up a little. Well, this isn't really lightening it up. This isn't a very light
This is
topic.
not a light episode.
Not a light episode. This is a all right. Let me point out that we're still talking about kids, and we're talking about, this time, nursery hackers threatening to publish children's profiles. So the crime group is called Radiant, and they've got they're saying they're gonna, it's basically ransomware. They're gonna publish children's information unless they get paid. So again, this link is going to be available, but I mean, I think that this goes to the desensitization of just everything. Nowadays, like there's no boundaries, there's no
Right.
barriers.
And it's not just for criminal groups. It's also a problem with mainstream venues that collect data from youth.
Exactly.
So if you are using
Advertisement, ad tech.
ad tech, and then also a lot of youth, when they go to school, they're told they have to use a certain kind of computer with a certain kind of software. That software is collecting data from them There's no transparency on how long that data is being maintained, how it's being maintained, to what degree the child has access to their data. There was even one instance where surveillance software was put on the computer that was given to the child from their school. That was used for behavior modification, or behavior counseling. So I think this is like the extreme case where you have a criminal group that is abusing the child's data, but there is digital responsibility and rights that are supposed to be in place for youth, and people aren't abiding by it.
Digital ethics, right?
Absolutely. Digital ethics. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. Okay. So again, this whole episode right now, well, the very end is not about children, but even again, there's more, right? So let's, whoops, I just accidentally deleted something that I wasn't supposed to yet. Hang on, because it's our next one. All right. So I got to find where I'm supposed to be again. I'm pulling all the levers. All right. All right, now this is something that even though when you see the article, it says, Utah teens dying as a result of sextortion. It's definitely not just Utah teens, right? Because if anybody follows Paul Raphael on LinkedIn, you'll see all the work he's doing on this sort of thing. And he's talking about, he's got lists of a bunch of people who, have been harmed by sextortion. So we'll go ahead and play that. We have 2 clips to play. So we'll play the first one.
In sextortion cases. Last year, Utah's Internet Crimes Against Children Task Force investigated 1,264 sextortion cases. In 2025, they've already had 2,288, an 81% increase.
It's especially affecting young men.
The motive is increasingly financial. According to the FBI, victims of sextortion nationwide have lost more than $65 million since 2021. And the results of sextortion can be deadly. Just last year, a 15-year-old boy died by suicide in Weber County.
All right. Now, there is another section we're going to listen to as well. But Sarah, what do you have for this one?
I was actually floored by the statistic, and I went and talked
to my
was
Utah only. Right?
Yeah, that was only Utah, right? So I went and talked to my teen about it, who I've talked to him about once before, and I talked to him about sextortion, and he just essentially laughed at me because he's not an active social media user. He only is in closed Discord groups where he knows the people that he's actually chatting with. And he has no interest in talking to teenagers, that are strangers online or people he doesn't know online. And so I told him the one statistic that I saw, that it's like 1 out of 5 kids has shared a picture, a nude pic. And he didn't believe me. He thought I was making it up. And I think that, part of that is probably because he has me as a mom, and we've talked about some of the other things with the internet, and he just has no interest in talking to strangers at all. And he also doesn't like the concept of his data being taken by big tech companies. So maybe that's part of it. Yeah.
Can I add in there the thing about strangers, though? Like there's, the whole parasocial and that sort of kind of angle to it, that kids might be in a Discord group and they think of all the people in there as their friends, but do they really know them? And even if they do, maybe say they know like their group of friends, one of their friends says, oh, I got to vouch for this other person. He's my other friend. He's come from, he's from wherever. Can we get him in the group? And the truth is that not everybody is going to say, okay, they're my friend because I have met them in person and I know them. So maybe this kid really thinks that this is one of his friends. He brings them in, and then now you've got that kind of outsider who has access to certain details.
That could happen. It's never happened with my child, just because he's very adamant that he will not be in any group where he does not actually physically know the person. Which I'm as a parent, I'm totally fine with.
I'd be fine with that, but I'd also be dubious of it, not thinking that your kid's going to be telling any stories out of school or whatever, but rather that as you know, as people get introduced to other people, whatever, that sometimes there's a little bit of gray room in there, you know?
Yeah, well, now what I also worry about, though, on that topic is something that isn't always thought of is, what if a parent or a trusted adult of the child that the child is talking to is pretending to be the child? So, and that has happened before, huh?
There's a documentary on
Yeah.
Netflix. What's it called again?
I don't know.
Oh gosh.
I think I know which one you're talking about, where the guy pretends to be the son, or is it
Not
a
a
different
guy.
one? Okay. Oh, the mom who pretends to be, is it the mom who pretends to be the, hold on.
It's Unknown Number. It's called Unknown
Yes,
Number.
I saw that.
Oh yeah, and there's a cheerleader mom one. Andrea mentioned
Yes,
that one from a while back as well.
That was the cheerleader mom. Yeah.
No.
That,
Unknown Number is not the cheerleader, not mom. Unknown Number is a different one. There's a cheerleader mom, then there's also Unknown Number. Totally.
But the Unknown Number was the mom who was at first trying to find out about the deep fake, right? Or did I get that confused?
You got it confused.
Okay.
You're gonna have to watch that. I'm not gonna tell you any more about it.
I'm gonna have to rewatch it.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
I mean, I do think that that's an issue, and I think that the mom in Unknown Number, she went way out of the scope of, well, she shouldn't have done what she did. And she should have been liable for what she did and be arrested and go to jail. And yeah, I know. And she that is, I think, totally acceptable for what she did. But I think because I got a little bit confused, I think you should explain to the audience what she did.
No, they gotta watch it. Because to be honest, like, you don't even know that it's her in the beginning, so we already gave away that.
Oh yeah, we said it was the mom. Sorry.
Yeah.
We
No, that's okay.
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 But yeah, I mean, that is one of the things that I do worry about, that I've talked to both my children about, is that even if the person says that they are the person that they physically know, there's always a possibility that they could be an imposter pretending to be the person they know, including somebody who's supposed to be a trusted adult who might not be a trusted adult. So I do think that's a concern. I've always also told them that they shouldn't be, like, if anything ever did happen, like if there was a deep fake or something like that, where they're being sextorted with the deep fake, that they shouldn't have any shame about it. It's not their fault. And that this is happening to other people, and that they should feel totally comfortable talking to an adult about it.
Yeah. Well, I think we just need to get some of the stigma away from just who's allowed to be nude or whatever. I mean,
right.
Obviously, children nude images are CSAM.
Yeah.
But yet
totally.
Kids should not be ashamed for it.
Right. Especially, yeah. I mean, they shouldn't. I mean, it's because it's not their fault. I mean, but
even like all scam victims feel some shame. They feel like they messed up, and so even you think of like elder fraud, they won't report it either because they're like, oh, it's my own fault, and then it's not.
Yeah, and women do that a lot also, where they blame themselves.
Well, and men, because they're not supposed to be the ones who are victimized, so then of course they're not going to talk about it.
Right.
So let's we got a little fun and games one where one of these anti-scamming YouTube channels gets a chance on this.
I liked this one.
Yeah. Okay, here we go. So we got a couple of clips in this one. Oh, okay. Oops. Sorry, I didn't even share it. Details. Let me get back to where I'm supposed to be here. Okay. So I went way back. All right. Share it to the screen, Kirby. All right, there we go. Here we go.
Comments. I decided to Google Techies Backdoor and Encryption 4C, and what I found were newly registered websites where you can supposedly hire a tactical hacker if you're being blackmailed or sextorted. and apparently they've helped over 130,000 people. So either all these victims had such a good experience that they're now posting about it in my comments, or somebody else is behind this and they're looking to take advantage of victims who are desperately looking for help.
All right. So what do you think it is? I think you know.
Yeah, I thought it was really interesting that this scammer felt that he could use a YouTube channel that was defending people's online to advertise a scam by saying that they were going to defend you.
Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, the person who he did that to looked at the comments and went around and reverse engineered it to find the scammer. But the one thing I like about this, although it does include social engineering and it does include some computer activities later that are not involved in OSINT activities, that the front end is pure OSINT. So the reconnaissance of the reverse engineer and the reconnaissance of the reaction is being done mostly with all open source intelligence.
You know, this type of scam though is not that unique where the scammer says, I'm going to help you, because anytime, say, if you typed, oh my gosh, I got hacked into something like x.com or into Facebook publicly available, whatever, you're immediately going to get a whole bunch of responses where, oh, I'll help you, or contact this guy, he can help you, you know. And it's the scam, you know, they know you've been victimized once. They're like, maybe it'll be easy enough to victimize them again. Right?
Yes, that's an excellent point. And that's why you should always vet your tools, your IT help, your support,
and go to someone in the know. So like if somebody reaches out to you and says, oh, I'll help you because you've been scammed, that's not the person to necessarily talk to. Go, you report it and find the anti-scam groups, the official ones. And I think that like one of the first places you should go is to Power of Feel or else to Operation Shamrock, those kind of places where they're well known for taking care of these kind of scams. For at least 5 to 5.
Yep, that's a good point.
Okay, let's watch the rest. Let's watch another clip on this.
Okay.
So I'm looking at your timestamps on this one. And we have the second one is after the first one. Do you want me to play the earlier one first, or do you want me to play the later one and then come back to the earlier one?
Whichever you prefer. Yeah.
Okay. I just noticed that. I just was like, well, the second one, let's see. We'll play the earlier one first.
Okay.
This one's very short.
Videos where he's dropping these comments in hopes of getting people to reach out. Such a weird way to promote your business.
All right, so there he is promoting it on YouTube. You know, I have to tell you, I found one time somebody promoting selling illegal drugs, not on Reddit exactly. I mean, he was promoting on Reddit as well, but so funny that he had done a search for this exact string of the ad he wanted to put into Reddit, and then the page that came up, he shared that link out so that Google would index that link, and then people could find him just him searching for it rather than him posting it somewhere.
And one of the things also with this that I thought was important was when you look at the URLs, they have a pattern to them that are all similar. So you can look at that cluster and see that they're kind of related. So it's like the one course or the one webinar that you taught on investigating the structure of the URL, that concept applies to these.
Yeah. Okay, let's go to the last clip.
Okay.
So he goes on to try to feed me some crap that trading Bitcoin is valued at much less than regular Bitcoin or something. So I decided to ask ChatGPT to confirm what he's saying.
Okay, this guy. Okay, just a minute. I got to confirm. This guy is saying that regular Bitcoin is worth more than trading Bitcoin. Is that true?
The value of Bitcoin itself doesn't change whether you are trading it or holding it.
Oh my gosh.
Can you tell the AI the difference between a domain Bitcoin and a real Bitcoin?
Can you tell her the difference? Hey, you tell her the difference. You explain it to her. Hey, he's got something to say to you. Go ahead.
Hello, can you tell us the difference between a domain Bitcoin and a real Bitcoin?
Of course. Bitcoin is a digital currency, and its value is the same whether you buy, trade, or hold it.
She said the same thing.
All right. So this is kind of funny where he's kind of bringing AI into it, and the scammer knows immediately that it's AI. He's like, "You're asking the AI." I love that though. I think that I'm hoping that people getting scammed will ask the AI, "Does this make sense?"
Right, and I like this because this was a example of a basic functional use of AI in a not in an investigation but in a query. So you know, it's yes, I mean, AI is useful to look up in this case ChatGPT the definition of values of Bitcoin. Should you always double check it? Sure, absolutely.
Right, but if
the
the
person
scammer's talking to you at that moment, this is one way to be like a little bit of sanity, because I think I don't think any of the AIs are going to be like, "Oh yeah, fall for the scam," you know?
Right. Well,
they're going to recognize type of scams.
I don't know. See, that I'm not sure if it depends. Most of them, yes.
I think they do know the scams.
Yeah. Okay.
So I think that I really hope that more people will actually do that.
I liked it. I thought it was a basic functional use of AI. I was hip with it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that this is probably a pretty good video. So again, if you want to watch the whole video, we'll have the link in the YouTube channel, in the description of the YouTube video. All right. So one more thing that has to do with kids. And this one is about kids using social media. So actually, this is the very last thing about kids, but it's about kids using social media. Let's see. And there we go. So Australia's social media ban for teens draws praise at UN. What do you say, Sarah? What kind of ban?
At first, you know, as a mom, part of me is like, yay. But then I had a conversation with my teen, and actually, I think this is going too far. My teen gets lots of very good educational videos off of YouTube. And
well, it depends on what they consider social networking, I guess, or social media site.
Right. I think this is a little bit too extensive. And then also, I think it's the state kind of parenting for the parent. And every, you know, I do think that there are certain things, like, for example, X. I mean, X has, on X, there's human trafficking, there's, you know, bots, there's prostitution, there's...
and let's point out that there almost always was. But yes, it's not fixed.
Yeah, it's not fixed. And you know, the age limitation on X is 13 years old.
As most of them are. That's
right. And so should my 13-year-old be looking at that? No. But at the same time, you know, if the 13-year-old is looking at qualitative analytical posts on X for some kind of research, which it could be, in my case, a 14-year-old, then you know, I'm okay with it. So,
you know, I can see where you're going with this, but I'm thinking, what about? I think it's the problem is the algorithm, and like not just stuff that you follow, but stuff getting pushed into your feed where you would see that anyway. Yeah, and that's X or YouTube.
And that is one of the problems, and that is one of the problems with X and Youth too, because that should be TikTok. It should be this kind of digital rights for youth should be included in the design of the actual platform. So instead of punishing the youth and saying you're totally banned for this because of the algorithm and some of the things that might pop up on it, I would argue that responsibility actually falls on the technology company. If they are going to have the age on their platform as 13, that they have to have effective, ethical design of their platform. that includes an algorithm.
You are following these guys, so this is who you're going to see, rather than, okay, we'll bring in something that's something like that, and then get a little bit further away, and a little bit further away. Next thing you know, you're looking at narco culture or something, right?
Yeah, well, and not even that, but the way that you get dopamine off of clicks.
Sure.
So when I think it goes beyond just what the youth would have access to. It goes on to how the algorithms are designed to influence the users. And so when you're talking about teens and you're talking about children and how their brains, because their brain doesn't finish developing, I think until your mid or late 20s. This is something that, if you're going to allow youth on your platform and you have that in your TOS, then you really need to look at the design of your platform for youth. And if you don't think that your design fits youth, then don't have youth as an age on your platform. And I do think that the moderation that is on things like X there is not effective moderation. They'll say, oh, well, there was one post, well, we block this from our users who say they're this age. No, they only block part of it because only part of it is filtered. So there's too many holes, like in a piece of Swiss cheese, so it needs to be in the design of the actual product.
Yeah, but again, that's those algorithms, they're top secret because that's how they make their money. That's
right. But okay,
so that outrage, that dopamine hit, whatever, so that
Yeah. So yeah, but I think design it needs to be considered when you're looking at age.
So this next thing was I didn't think about it as being like kids, but like it is. It's a viral video challenge, and this goes to like the dopamine hits and the effect of influence on social media.
Yep.
But it is about subway surfing.
Yeah.
All right, so let's play this video for just a few seconds here.
In the last 3 years, there have been 16 deaths and 20 people injured, according to the New York City Police Department. And the people doing it are young. The average age is just 14 years old.
That means there are kids even younger.
Yeah, our youngest death was 11, and that's really frightening when you think of an 11-year-old who passed away from doing this, from riding the top of a subway.
Subway surfing.
Yeah, so this
to go viral on social media.
Yeah, so this actually happened like several years ago, and now it's becoming a trend again. So it was a prior trend. Everybody was like, "Oh, this is horrible," and then it stopped for a while because there was like kind of a campaign against it, and then it's now reemerged as a trend all over again. And so
it's like extreme pranks and stuff. I mean, it's like
right.
Yeah, absolutely. So here's another video. I think that I accidentally let it play a little bit. So let's see where I need to be. There we go. Okay, here we go.
It's this misguided attempt at thrill seeking, but you're saying that it's actually on the increase, so-called train surfing.
Absolutely. And what worries us is, the more we talk about it, the more kids think it's great to do it. My advice is for everyone to understand the consequences. This train was probably doing almost 100 kilometers an hour between Caringbah and Woolooware Station.
So again, this was 8 days ago. This News Australia article.
Yeah. So subway surfing was more popular, I would say, in like the United States, and it started, like the early ones started that I saw that were US based, and now that viral trend has gone to other countries, and that goes the whole back thing about talking about algorithm, functional design, ethics, and then also what you're letting your kid have access to, or what your youth or child likes to look at online. I do see this as also something that is along the same lines as like the previous Tide Pod talent.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it also goes back to the it relates a little bit with the first thing that we talked about, which is self-harm. This, you know, not being afraid to do something that might hurt you. I think it's something that needs to be investigated as soon as it's seen. And then also, if it starts being reposted, like when you do have a viral video of somebody's subway surfing, need to look at who's reposting it. And if it's an adult reposting it, you know, versus a news article about it, but the actual viral video itself, then it needs to look at why is that adult reposting it?
Right,
Because,
who's helping push this go viral?
right, yeah.
Right. So here's another video for it. Let's see, this time it's a TikTok.
Increase in incidents of so-called subway surfing in the city, some of them deadly.
Another young life taken by a dangerous stunt. Subway surfing, incredibly dangerous and illegal.
For the latest subway surfing incident that killed a teenage boy.
The 14-year-old boy who died Thursday while subway.
And so this one's actually put out there by the NYPD on TikTok.
Yeah, I liked that because what that was I thought NYPD did an excellent job of sending out a PSA and saying, hey guys, this is a problem. You know, look out to if you see it, report it. I mean, there is also something to the concept of amplification. You know, when you see the news sensation surrounding it, there's some people that would argue that in and of itself is permitting it. I don't always agree with that though. So for example, on one of the social media platforms that had a lot of advertisements advertising people for sale, posting the names of the account, I don't think is victimizing the names of the account, the handles of the account. I don't think that's victimizing the people that are being advertised. I think that's bringing attention to the fact that those accounts shouldn't be on there if they're not taking them down when you report them. But so you do have to though balance when you're doing like inadvertent amplification versus a PSA. And I thought that the NYPD TikTok video was an excellent PSA.
Yeah, yeah. PSAs need to evolve and go, you know, go where the people were going to see them. And so it's really cool that they did that on TikTok.
Yeah. Yep.
Absolutely. So there's one more source about this kind of thing. I think this is actually, yeah, this is more about sextortion. This last one that we have for the, still not at the end of the kids one, but but this next one, it has to do with sextortion. And let me bring that up, and it's from the NCMEC. So let's see. I'm going to bring it up, and then I'm going to turn the sound on, and I'm just going to refresh it because it kind of starts out kind of cool.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And this is going to be a interactive page to kind of interactive film to help you kind of understand what sextortion is and how it can get caught online and how to get out of it.
Right. And I thought this was actually helpful for not just parents, but for teens who might feel embarrassed. It doesn't apply to mine, but there are other teens that this would apply to, where they would feel embarrassed,
or even teachers.
Reporting it.
Teachers or
yeah. And it kind of reminded me of a long time ago. There was a PSA styled interactive video called "Take This Lollipop," where you went and it showed how, when you visited the site, kind of drilling you down on Facebook. And I used to use that as an example for students when I was at Fort Huachuca. So I mean, this is a long time ago, but I think that kind of interactive PSA style tool works really good for parents, educators, and for also grabbing the attention of youth to get them more engaged in understanding the implication of the threat.
Yeah.
So, and what they can do about it.
Mhm.
So, yeah.
All right, now for real, this next one is the last one having to do with kids, but we still have a few more things after this. This really, really is the last one having to do with kids. Let me double check to make sure it stopped okay. All
Well,
right.
that is the whole title of this episode. So
It is, yes.
Topic.
Oh. All right, so there we go. Add that to the stage, and this is
you can actually find the user's password here in plain text. This is basically a beginner's guide to all the vulnerabilities that are most common in web applications.
Can't say I'm surprised by this. Kids often know much more about IT, networking, cybersecurity, and the rest than their elders. The ICO office in the UK warns about the insider threat of students, leading to increased number of cyber attacks in schools. Over half of schools inside cyber attacks caused by students. Almost a third of insider attack incidents caused by students guessing weak passwords or finding them jotted down on bits of paper. So these are the people that are supposed to teach kids in schools, and they're either writing their passwords down or having terrible passwords. Teen hackers are not breaking in, they're simply logging in.
all right. So this is a YouTube short, although it's not terribly short, right? We've got about 3 minutes of it there, but it talking about how the kids are finding, those sticky notes with your password. And I'm telling people, as far as password security goes, a password manager is the best thing you do. But I know there's a lot of people who are like not going to use a password manager. A notebook that you can lock away, maybe. We're talking about some people who are scared of the tech, not scared of technology, not willing to learn the new technology. Anybody can learn a password manager, but there's like some resistance in some cases. Something you can lock away, because if a kid can see around your screen, then they can pick that password up really easy.
I totally agree with you. And one of the other things, though, that I get out of this video is when we were talking about emphasizing digital youth and safety and OSINT, is a lot of times adults and parents don't understand that their child actually is looking at their behavior with how they do things online. So if you're going to moderate and say, oh, you are addicted to your device because you're using it too much, and that same parent is sitting in a restaurant looking at their device during the whole meal, well, that they're teaching their child that they're not practicing what they preach. And the other thing with this is even like, for example, a lot of adults, the way that they use Facebook, my kids would look at that and be absolutely horrified and think, why in the world would you give away this information? Or why would you post that picture? And I think, you shouldn't underestimate younger early adopters, because the younger early adopters yeah, exactly. So
okay, now a few more things that we have to talk about. Some of them were kind of passed on from sometimes it just starts going when I click on the tab, and I don't like that, but oh well. All right, so here we go. Share the screen again. This is about another scam. Today was very scamtastic, wasn't it?
Yes.
Okay, here we go.
NBC News reviewed dozens of incidents from around the country of online impersonators using photos and credentials of licensed real estate agents. Realtor Shane Boyle says he's been targeted by dozens of scammers.
So I think fake ads, real estate ads, are nothing new. It's just actually bringing in like a little bit of legitimacy by bringing in that real person who you check them out and you're like, oh yes, this really is a real estate agent.
Right. Yeah, I actually helped one of my friends with one of these last year when their niece was looking for an apartment and was looking at a fake apartment ad to figure out that it was a fake apartment ad. the fact that they're doing essentially virtual ID theft to do it now, though, is an interesting twist. I'm not quite sure how long that's been going on because I haven't looked back at the first one, but I do think you can't assume that since it's listed by somebody who's a real agent that it's real. So maybe then due diligence is that you would now call and speak to the person to confirm whether or not that's really their ad.
Possibly.
I don't know. Yeah.
I know it's a lot harder now, I think, for young people because there are so many scams and ads and jobs and cars, and even if you just want to sell something on Facebook Marketplace. But I actually this reminds me of the North Korean IT workers, the remote workers, who they would take somebody's LinkedIn profile and basically either duplicate it or even just point people to it and say, I'm this person, and so the person would vet out, okay. And then it would be somebody from North Korea actually doing the work and taking the money and bringing it back to North Korea. And or maybe information. Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Absolutely. So I'm actually giving a talk tomorrow, and that's going to be one of my examples of how cybersecurity is really important, because you need to also vet your people, insider threats.
Right. And there's nothing wrong with picking up the telephone to actually vet. But I mean, theoretically, somebody could also use an AI voice cloner. But yeah, it's becoming interesting. But I do think that one step with these ads at this point is to actually reach out and talk to the advertised realtor.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that might be a good idea. So you can find out whether or not that really is his ad. All right. The next one we have is something we talked a lot about, missing people in the past, and something we didn't get to share yet is the invite from Trace Labs to their weekly challenge on Discord.
Yes.
So again, if you want to go and join and kind of test your skills and also do good, OSINT for good, right? Then you can go ahead and, again, this link will be available. And I'm actually just going to share this link into the chat here today so that those of you who are here today, you don't have to go to the YouTube, although we hope you still do. But there you go. There's the Discord link to join Trace Labs, and they basically gamify OSINT for good.
And their weekly challenges are to assist real cases.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you really are doing good, and it's not just practicing. You're actually helping out. All right, last thing we're going to talk about for today, and this has to do with AI slop. Sarah,
of the week.
Well, I know, but first of all, I want you to define AI slop.
So AI slop is artificially created material that is posted online. And as you pointed out, what was the statistic you pointed out in the last?
There's more AI created material online than there is human created already.
Yes. And a lot of this AI slop is pulling at your heartstrings, as Curry pointed out, or pulls at your emotions. And what they're trying to do is sometimes it is to get views, because a lot of entities or people now are monetizing their feeds with AI slop. But then you can also you have AI slop for propaganda influence activities as well.
Yeah, or even trying to
or scams too,
make somebody ridiculous and things like that. I want to point out that when you're the first one who called it AI slop to me, but I see that it is everywhere as AI slop now. And so it's like spam, when people send you email you don't want or whatever, bacon when you sign up for newsletters and you get to eat too much. So slop it's AI slop, and there's going to be a lot of it. And I think Sarah is going to find us some AI slop every week. And here's this week. Now, I do want to point out
this week's AI slop.
Yes, and this week, this is not having to do with politics. This is completely AI. This never happened. All right, so let me go ahead and share that. All right, so the med beds.
President Trump promised to rebuild America, and he's delivering. Right now, medbed hospitals are being built here in the heartland and across the country. These are American-made facilities, staffed by our finest doctors, equipped with technology that heals, not just manages disease. And starting January 2026, the doors officially open.
So J.D. Vance never made this speech. This commercial is completely made. This channel is MedBed Healing New Technology. It's not
Right. And when you go to that channel, it has other AI slop or misinformation and disinformation. Yeah.
So, I mean, what's the point? This stuff isn't real. So is the point to make money off of this, to get like this shared around? And I don't think that, I don't know, maybe YouTube would let them in the partner program, because that's how you make money on YouTube. But, you know, I'm not sure what the point of it is.
So when the one reason why I put this as an example in there is they actually show like a card in it, like that's similar to a credit card. And I think this one particularly shows an example of how AI slop could be used for a scam.
Oh, okay. So you're saying like they're actually like, come to our website and like,
well,
there's
they don't do it in here, but it's a precedence for doing that, because they have an imaginary card. So that idea could be used by somebody else with an actual PayPal account or a Patreon account, or give me a credit card number account. So
All right. Well, that's all we've got for this week. So I just want to say thanks, everybody. And again, our YouTube channel is youtube.com/OSINTIRL. If you want to join us, then there'll be a link to join us in our premium knowledge base group, where you can talk about what's going to happen next week. I have no idea what the topics next week's going to be. If you have any ideas, send them to us. You don't have to be in the group. You can comment here or get hold of us on LinkedIn or anything like that as well. What do you have to say, Sarah? And Sarah's going to continue to get this AI conference under her belt, so follow her on LinkedIn so you can see what she's seeing.
Yeah. So thank you. Please join us next week, where we'll be discussing more OSINT IRL, and I will have our weekly example of AI slop.
All right.
All right.
Thank you. And thanks for watching. Thank you.
Thanks. Bye.